Well, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has spoken for the first time about an incident involving Australian and Chinese warships near Japan, which left a number of Australian sailors injured, at least one of them anyway. But the Prime Minister would not confirm if he personally raised the issue with Xi Jinping last week. The divers, who sustained minor injuries after being subjected to sonar pulses from a Chinese destroyer, have since been cleared to return to duties. Joel Philp has the story.
The Prime Minister says the incident in which a Chinese warship blasted sonar pulses in the direction of Australian military divers has damaged the relationship between the two countries.
This was dangerous, it was unsafe and unprofessional from the Chinese forces, and our major concern, of course, is always for the safety of our Australian Defence Force personnel.
While Sky News understands the PM raised the issue with China's leaders while he was in San Francisco for the APEC leaders meeting, Anthony Albanese wouldn't confirm if that meant he spoke about it directly with President Xi Jinping, insisting he doesn't comment on private conversations with world leaders.
We have put our very strong objections to China very clearly, very directly, through all of the appropriate channels in all of the forums that are available to us.
The opposition argues voters deserve the full details about Australia's response to the dangerous incident.
I believe this is the first instance in which Australian Defence Force personnel have been harmed by the People's Liberation Army since the Korean War. 70 years, more than 70 years. And so I think the public has a right to understand exactly what the Prime Minister has done on our behalf.
At the G20 in Bali last year, Chinese President Xi Jinping accused Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of leaking their private conversations. On another national security matter, the Prime Minister defended the government's handling of a High Court ruling which forced it to release a group of convicted criminals from indefinite detention. Labor had to cave into demands from the coalition to rush through emergency legislation to limit their freedoms.
Should the government have legislation? Should it have been ready in the contingency that the High Court made the ruling that it did?
Remember this, Kieran, this was a decision overturning 20 years of law. That this law was written by the former coalition government way back in 2004. Peter Dutton was the minister for 6 years in charge of this particular area. Did he have legislation ready?
The opposition wants the government to investigate whether preventative or continuing detention orders designed for terrorists could be used in those released in the past 10 days.
We await the decision of the High Court where the reasons haven't been published yet. So that will have implications as well. But we are doing all that we need to do, everything within our power to keep people safe. That's our first, second and third priority.
Joel Philp, Sky News, Canberra.